That movie sucked.
I kind of liked it.
Movie Night Crew Network.
There was a flash of blinding green light and a rushing sound, as though a vast invisible something was soaring through the air. Instantaneously, the spider rolled over onto its back, unmarked but unmistakably dead. Several of the students stifled cries. Ron had thrown himself backward and almost toppled off his seat as the spider skidded toward him. Moody swept the dead spider off the desk onto the floor. What's up, potheads? Welcome to the Restricted Section, a show in which a bunch of nerds with potty mouths reread the Harry Potter series for the umpteenth time and discuss the way that the story and its themes have stayed with a generation into adulthood. Thanks for being here. If you haven't done the reading, don't worry, we did it for you. Here's what we're talking about today. Chapter 14, The Unforgivable Curses. The Gryffindor fourth years attend their first Defense Against the Dark Arts class of term, in which their teacher shows them a series of deeply illegal spells called the Unforgivable Curses. Seeing the killing curse really fucks up Harry because he survived it and his parents didn't, but Neville seems pretty fucked up too. Hermione finally reveals her secret, which is not nearly as cool as her last secret, which was time travel. As a reminder, this secret is SPEW, the Society for the Promotion of Elvish Welfare. Hedwig also returns with a message from Sirius saying he's alarmed by how many things are going weirdly, and he's coming north again, which gives Harry a whole new reason to hate himself. Welcome to the Restricted Section. Constant vigilance! I am thrilled to be joined today by my fetching friend, Layla. Say hello to the listeners, Layla.
Hello, listeners.
And I'm incredibly excited because our special guest today is a returning guest and a very good friend of the pod, Danni. Say hello to the listeners, Danni.
Hello, listeners.
You might remember Danni from J.K. Rowling is Canceled, which was from July 2020. That was when, you know what that was about. Also, Danni was on the Chamber of Secrets, Chapter 7, Mudbloods and Murmurs. And then Prisoner of Azkaban, Chapter 15, Part 1 of the Quidditch Final. So I think you have been on the episode. Wait, I think you've been on more episodes than any other guest.
Yeah, I think so. I think we mentioned that last time too. I'm glad that you have a list because I was actually trying to figure out how many episodes I'd been on earlier today. So mystery solved.
It's hard to keep track.
Yeah.
And your I think it's J.K. Rowling is Canceled is one of our highest ranking episodes.
Yeah.
So. And I routinely from more than one person, I've gotten feedback that you're a beloved guest. So anyway, thank you for coming back. It's always so awesome to talk Harry Potter with you.
Thank you for having me as always. It's always awesome to be here. I enjoy it. And, you guys give me a little ego boost, which is never a bad thing.
Yay! Yes. Friends helping friends, baby.
Yes.
So Danni, I know there was something you wanted to say about a recent holiday or celebration that we missed because we miss everything.
That's okay. I mean, things happen. Now we know for next year, right? So thank you. I just wanted to talk a little bit about Transgender Awareness Week. This episode is going to air a little later, even though it is, Transgender Awareness Week now. But that's okay because we're still going to talk about it. We're still going to celebrate it. It's still going to be awesome. So
I am always incredibly aware of you, Danni, just to be very clear.
All right. So Transgender Awareness Week is observed November 13th through November 19th, and it's a 1-week celebration leading up to the Transgender Day of Remembrance, which memorializes victors of transgender violence. So that occurs annually on November 20th, and it's to obviously raise awareness for the transgender community through, education and advocacy. So that's what Transgender Awareness Week is all about, being mindful of your friends. And I always encourage people to figure out, talk with their queer friends, talk with their LGBTQIA friends, and find out how to be a better friend to them and a better ally to them. Because at the end of the day, being an ally is well and good, but we all know our actions matter than our words.
It's very true.
Yeah. So just wanted to bring a little bit of attention to that. Thank you.
A little bit of awareness, so to speak.
Yes, a little bit of awareness. And happy Transgender Awareness Week, everyone.
Yeah. Happy, when it's your birthday, you're like, it's my birthday week. Well, it's my birthday month. So happy Transgender Awareness Day, week, month, year.
Thank you.
I guess I was feeling vibey when I wrote my notes because I wrote Happy December, quote, the weather turned very cold. The mountains around the school became icy gray and the lake like chilled steel. Every morning the ground was covered in frost. Hagrid could be seen from the upstairs windows defrosting broomsticks on the Quidditch pitch, bundled up in a long moleskin overcoat, rabbit fur gloves, and enormous beaver skin boots. Are you feeling cold and snuggly?
Not particularly, honestly. I'm pretty comfortable, it's not bad here.
I guess I said cold and snuggly, which doesn't really add up. Anyway, the descriptions of winter at Hogwarts are always incredibly vibey.
100%.
Yeah.
Did I read the right chapter?
What? No. Oh my God, Leela.
14, you said.
Leela, listen to me. This is a quote from Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
Okay, you scared
and it's just a good quote about November turning into December.
Okay.
I'm so sorry to alarm you.
It's okay. It's okay. It's all good. Beautiful.
Leela, you did literally confirm with me yesterday if you were reading the right chapter. So if anything, that would have been my bad.
Take a breath.
You're
Everything's okay.
All right. Yeah. It's a lovely quote. Love it.
I was feeling vibey, and I'm pretty sure I probably just Googled vibey Harry Potter winter quote. I don't know.
That's something I'm going to have to Google.
Well, I was going to do a whole bonus episode about Christmas at Hogwarts because it is such a vibe, but there's just nothing to talk about. It's way more about the ambiance. There's not a lot of discourse.
Yeah, that's fair.
So instead this month on our Patreon bonus episodes, we're covering the Hogwarts School of Prayer and Miracles, which is a Christian rewrite. Still not sure, much like the legendary Maya Mortal, still not sure if it was a troll or not. It's the first 10 chapters or something of Sorcerer's Stone, rewritten without any magic or witchcraft because prayer and miracles.
Wow. Geez. I remember when that was a thing, though, not that series specifically, but when HP came out, back in our day now, there were kids that I knew from school who weren't allowed to read the Harry Potter series because their families were devout to, various religions, and they felt it was, an infringement on that religion. So that's interesting. Yeah. I may look into those.
We've had a couple guests who were not permitted to read Harry Potter as children, including 2 weeks ago, our guest Adam, I think was the most recent one to tell us that he had not been allowed as a child to read Harry Potter. It's sad, but at the same time, then you get to experience it for the first time when you're older, which must have been really nice too.
Oh my God, yeah.
Tina, am I on that? I think I'm on that episode, aren't I?
Yeah, you are.
God, why are you I did not volunteer for it.
Somebody had to be on it.
It's true. It's too close to home.
That's why I put you on it. And we're gonna it's gonna be you, me, and Andrew, so that's the tone we're setting.
Oh my God. Okay. We'll make it work.
It's gonna be, I think, quite funny. Anyway, sign up for our Patreon at least the $5 a month tier to get that. Leila, you're sounding really confident.
I know.
Great job.
Really selling it.
We have yet to record it, obviously. So this is Chapter 14, The Unforgivable Curses. I almost said by Mad-Eye Moody. I mean, technically, but he didn't write the chapter. It's the first week of school. They're just having the first week of school. Snape is apparently extra mad because he wanted Mad-Eye Moody's job. Probably there's other reasons he's mad right now.
Of course.
It's not important. It's,
Don't worry about
He's
it.
always mad. It's fine.
yeah.
Like, everyone's excited to start Defense Against the Dark Arts because people have been really talking up Mad-Eye Moody. So the trio, and I think like a lot of the class gets there early for their Thursday Defense Against the Dark Arts lesson. And then Moody comes in kind of like a G. I mean, the narrative really makes him seem scary and terrifying. But I perceive him to be more of like a boss bitch energy.
Yeah, I second that. I definitely felt the boss bitch vibes, So
Yeah. I think this chapter literally says like looking as frightening as ever or something, and I'm like, why does it have to be that way?
I think it's just like, it depends on if you're looking at it from the view of a child versus the view of an adult. Because
That's true.
Like, to a child, like, he's big and weird looking and scary. But to an adult, you're like, dude, you're freaking killing it.
Yeah, and like I think also as an adult,
maybe
we're
not killing
perceptive
it.
enough. No, in this chapter, he is killing it.
That's
like,
true.
Like literally.
Yeah.
I think also as adults, you look like you look at someone who is as physically unique as Mad-Eye Moody, and you're like, wow, this guy clearly has some kind of trauma. Don't know what it's about, but like something happened to him for sure. So let's all be a little bit nicer,
Yeah, I mean, the actual description here is he entered the room looking as strange and frightening as ever. And I know when I enter a room full of strangers, I want to appear as strange and frightening as ever. So people just like don't talk to me. And I am weird. So there's that. I don't think I'm very frightening, though. I'm pretty short, unfortunately.
Yo, honestly, you would rock a Mad-Eye Moody costume. You already have, like, the ponytail, which says that you're up for adventure. And if you just got, like, a big overcoat and, like, a crazy eye, that would be pretty cool.
Some kind of you could just, like, wear a long brown sock and be like, this is my peg leg.
I love that.
So Moody makes his entrance and he immediately tells everyone to put your books away. We're not going to need them. So that's a great sign right off the bat. Like, I love that.
He's a cool teacher.
Yeah, he's cool. It's going to be movie day.
Right then, he said, when the last person had declared themselves present. Yeah, he's just going right to town here, right to business. I love it.
Yeah, it's just so wild because, like, the audacity of Mad-Eye Moody, okay, first of all, but in addition to that, the audacity of Barty Crouch Jr. in scenes like this, and, like, the ferret scene, which was last chapter. Just so much audacity.
Yeah, I mean, there is quite a bit of audacity. He just goes right then, blah, blah, blah. And he just throws Professor Lupin right under the bus. I've had a letter from Professor Lupin about this class. Seems you've had a pretty thorough grounding in tackling dark creatures you've covered, blah, blah, blah.
I love your Moody voice so much.
Thank you. But you're behind, very behind on dealing with curses, said Moody.
I wonder if Lupin, like, knows more about dark creatures, because he is one.
I mean, facts.
But, like, why would that mean you know more about hinky punks? Or maybe he's just, like, more interested.
Yeah, maybe he's like more of a, like an animals guy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's like, you're pretty behind on curses, Mad-Eye Moody is. And then he also lets slip that he's only going to be there for 1 year. He's like, yeah, Dumbledore, like, convinced me to come out of retirement for 1 year. But, like, actually, he's like, yeah, at the end of this year, Harry Potter is going to be fucking dead. And I'm going to be on the run.
Oh, man.
But, like, not knowing that, if you didn't know that, then it would be like, this guy's a rock star. Like,
yeah, it's true.
Like Ian Malcolm from Jurassic Park vibes.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, and Ian Malcolm does almost lose a leg in that movie.
Look at that.
Coincidence?
I think not.
This crazy eye, this is my dinosaur eye. So why do we think Dumbledore... I mean, why do we think he asked him to only come out of retirement for 1 year? Like, what's the good in that?
Do you think he's lying and, like, maybe he only wants to work 1 year? Like, well, no, hold on.
Like, Dumbledore was like, can you just come back? And Moody's telling the kids that he's only going to be here for a year, even though him and Dumbledore never discussed it.
Yeah, like, he's like, this is just, like, what's going to happen.
That doesn't seem too unrealistic, because later in the chapter, he's like, yeah, Dumbledore told me I could perform illegal curses on you. And I'm like, I feel like that one's a lie. Like, I feel like you didn't talk to Dumbledore about that.
I almost kind of got the vibes that, like, you know, Moody was there almost as, like, a punishment in lieu of something, you know? Those are kind of the vibes I was picking up on. Like, yeah, I had to trade a year of my freedom in retirement and, you know, work here, teach you guys a thing or two, but after that, my debt is paid type of deal. That's the vibes I was getting. So it always made me wonder,
what kind of debt?
Like, what was he up to? What did he do? What shenanigans, you know?
I love that interpretation.
Thank you.
So Moody launches into a lecture on illegal curses, the unforgivable curses. I almost said the forbidden curses. It's all just the unforgivable forest. Apparently the Ministry of Magic has a curriculum, a recommended curriculum. Never heard about this before. I actually don't believe it. And that curriculum says that he's only supposed to teach them counter curses. And he's not supposed to show them illegal curses until 6th year. It's like a health teacher in high school being like, now don't smoke weed, as he's like lighting up a joint. And he's like, I'm going to show you what it looks like when you're smoking weed. So you never smoke weed.
It's like, all right, I don't think you really got the picture. I'm just going to roll one more joint.
I'm going to show you why this is bad, but also it's super cool. But remember, it's really bad, guys.
Yeah. I think he does kind of serve as a deterrent, because I think this lesson kind of traumatizes this class, at least certain members of it for sure.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
It's pretty fucked up.
100%. I mean, they're just spiders, but also, like, I've never sympathized so much for spiders in my life, other than reading this as an adult. As a kid, I was just like, oh yeah, bugs, cool, whatever, magic. Now it's like, whoa, this is some serious trauma. Not cool.
I know.
I don't think it really affected me that much as a kid either, Danny.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm with you.
I think I just, like, was like, oh, wow, those are, like, terrifying curses.
Same.
Yeah. But as an adult, it's especially, like, they don't do this in the movie because I think this would have been extremely hard to animate. But especially when the spider does his, like, tap dance, I'm like, this is incredibly sinister.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's creepy.
Okay, wait, so let's get there. So next what happens is Mad-Eye Moody catches Lavender showing Parvati her horoscope under her desk. And this is one of the few moments that I vastly prefer in the movies, because Seamus goes, oh god, you can see through desks or whatever. And Moody throws the chalk at him and says,
I'm here across classrooms.
it's the funniest shit.
It's ridiculous. His performance is so funny. I love it.
I would love a role like that. I feel like as long as you're committing 100%, you, like, can't really fuck it up, because you just have to be, like, so ridiculous.
Oh yeah,
you know?
It's a go big or go home moment, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, Moody walks in with some big dick energy.
With that fucking lightning in the movie, he's like, oh, this lightninging, right? We still don't know. Well, what was he doing? It makes no sense.
Just, like, being dramatic for no reason.
I'm going to touch the lightning and they'll know that I'm incredibly cool.
Is it with Brendan Gleeson?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay. Yeah.
That sounds pretty right. And then it's his son, isn't it Jack Gleeson, who plays Joffrey Baratheon? Is that right?
I am the king.
Shut up oh my god, that is Joffrey's name.
Yeah.
Oh, there's,
what do we say?
There's the typewriter sound effect again.
Layla, this is my sound effect. Yeah, Brendan Gleeson, and then... Ouch, Dante, fuck off! That was extremely painful.
Oh no, Dante.
Jesus Christ. That was claws in the kneecap.
Oh, I've been there,
Oh my
friend.
god. Okay, well, anyway, let's carry on. I'm right. I'm not going to fact check it. Those are the actors. So, yeah, we're learning that Mad Eye Moody's magic eye can pretty much see through everything. I would love to test the limits of that.
Same.
Can it metal bend?
I hope so. I think so at this point. I mean...
Is Mad Eye Moody the Avatar?
Probably.
Hard no.
The world's definitely in for it if he is.
Is he a good guy or a bad guy? I don't know, but he's kind of just like a shitty dude.
But he can see through metal. Maybe.
So Mad Eye Moody asks the class, like, what are some illegal curses? It's like a trick. It's like, I know I'm not supposed to answer this one. But Ron mentions that he has heard his dad talk about the Imperious Curse, which makes sense because Arthur works for the Ministry of Magic.
But I want to know, like, why every time he's, like, someone answers, he's like, oh, of course. Classic Longbottom, dead parents. And, like, he's like, yeah, of course, your father would know. I'm like, what has Arthur been up to? Because it doesn't say he, like, helped. It says he gave the ministry a lot of trouble at one time. So...
That's a good point.
It says the spell gave the ministry a lot of trouble at one point because they couldn't tell, after Voldemort was defeated, they couldn't tell if people were acting of their own accord or had been acting under the Imperious Curse. Is that not right?
That's not how I interpret it. I don't know.
What does
maybe
it say?
Wrong.
Read it.
Okay.
Read it to the class.
Ah, yes, said Moody
Nice.
appreciatively. Your father would know that one. Gave the ministry a lot of trouble at one time, the Imperious Curse.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, the Imperious Curse gave the ministry a lot of trouble.
Okay, I just think it's, like, interesting that he mentioned his father first, and, like, I'm just, like, a little sus, like, Artie, what did you do?
Artie Weeze does get into some shit, so I think you're...
I can't describe how much I hate calling him Artie. Let's not do that.
Oh, man.
Too late, it's canon.
No. So yeah, Imperio makes you do what the spellcaster wants you to do. So Moody pulls out a jar of spiders for demonstration, as any teacher would.
Totally normal. Everything's fine.
He casts Imperio on one of the spiders, and it does a little, like, circus act and then a tap dance. As I mentioned, this is chilling.
Yeah.
Leela, what are you drinking?
I am drinking it's just a Hardywood, what we got here? Ew, it's a Fightin' Hokies lager.
Fightin' Hokies.
I'm so
Ew.
sorry. I'm sorry. Jason just bought beer. I said buy beer. I didn't say buy sports memorabilia.
Hey, honestly, I knew you were drinking a beer, but that bottle straight up looks like a bottle of Robitussin, so I just had to clarify.
Does it? It is a very interesting shape.
Yeah.
It's shaped like a bottle of old school Robitussin just before plastic was invented.
Well, rich men be obnoxious with their bottling sometimes.
That is true.
These they open so poorly. Like, every time even if you gently open one, it just jizzes all over you.
A gentle jizz.
A gentle jizz.
Beautiful. Anyway,
so the students are laughing at the little song and dance number that the spider is doing, but Moody is like, that's pretty funny, right? What if I fucking did this to your bitch ass? Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he, I think, would have liked to have phrased it.
Oh my God, yeah. The laughter died away almost instantly. Total control. How ominous.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Yeah, so Moody's just explaining about, like, why this was troublesome for the ministry in the olden days. A lot of people, as I mentioned, were under the Imperious Curse, but a lot of people weren't, and it was just hard to figure out what was up. So he's contextualizing his lessons in a real world setting.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. Make us learn.
Yeah. So next he brings up the Cruciatus Curse. Crush. Do you guys crush or cruise?
Oh my gosh. I think I probably cruise, to be honest, unfortunately.
Danny, what about you?
I think just because I'm hearing you guys say it, I probably crush. I'm very much when I can't pronounce things on my own, I just kind of mimic the way other people pronounce it and hope for the best.
I think most humans are that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have this problem where I always baby talk my pets using the exact same like voice and language that my like geographically closest best friend baby talks their pets. When my friend Alexis was living here, I pretty much just said all the same things she said. But now Alexis moved away, so it's like really Anna and her dog Cosita who are influencing on me. So now I talk to my cats the exact same way that Anna talks to Cosita.
You speak
Humans just mimic.
You learned how to speak Spanish through mimicry.
Love it.
Cosita, Cosita.
Okay.
I probably would go cruciatus curse, but maybe a crucio, while you're doing the spell, a little bit of like pizzazz.
Oh, yeah. Some flair. I love it.
Yeah.
It's definitely like an American British thing for sure.
I'm sure that's true.
Because I'm sure no Brit would be like, cruciatus.
Cruciatus.
That sounds very hillbilly the way you pronounce it.
I feel like one day we need to do a dramatic reading of a chapter with everyone from Richmond where like all of us have Southern accents that are just like 1 inch behind the wall of our public personalities. And I think we should go there and read the dialogue from a chapter and see how that goes.
No one would like it. All our fans would turn on us.
So Neville brings up the Cruciatus curse, my sweet traumatized baby.
Oh, sweet baby.
I love him.
Yeah.
I think that Moody's eye also sees into souls. Like, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I'm also being a bit like realist when I'm
like auras, maybe.
Yeah, something of that nature, because he just intuitively knew, like, your name's Longbottom, he said, his magical eye swooping down to check the register again. So, I mean, yeah, I'm sure Moody also knows these kids by rep, of course. But he's definitely...
Oh, Neville's got a rep.
He does.
The saddest rep.
Poor Neville.
Love him.
I can't believe no one at school knows about his parents. Like, I can't believe, like, Malfoy doesn't seem to know, like... No one knows.
Why? It's
about the rebellion.
It's like they died for nothing. Like, why does...
Wait, but they didn't die.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's like they're...
unwell.
So is that why? It's because it's just, like, still embarrassing to talk about having...
Because it's, like, actively happening.
I don't know. That's so weird. Humans are so strange.
It's like real world American history, though. Look at all this stuff we're just going to leave out and pretend didn't happen. Yay!
Too
real.
Yeah.
Feeling good.
Feeling hopeful.
So Mad Eye Moody is like, wait, in order to like really see how I'm about to ruin this spider's life, let me make it a little bigger for you. So Ron's not okay with any of this. And then Moody casts Crucio, and the spider is like convulsing in visible pain.
I didn't like that part in the movie. I remembered. I hate it. Ooh.
We hates it.
We hates it.
Ugh, the spider swelled. I also just don't like that language.
No. And like, I think for most empathetic human beings, it's just like hard to see like any other living creature in pain,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the description here is all at once, the spider's legs bent in on its body. It rolled over and began to twitch horribly, rocking from side to side. No sound came from it, but Harry was sure if it could have given voice, it would have been screaming. Oh my God. The spider started to shudder and jerk more violently, and then Hermione cries out, "Stop it." I mean, that's not a pleasant description. I mean, yeah.
It's bad. Yeah, it's bad. In the movie, doesn't Hermione be like, look at what it's doing to Neville. Everybody look at him.
She's like, stop it. Can't you see it's bothering him? Can't you just stop it?
Hermione is so much less subtle in the movies. Like, I can't stand it.
Well, it does say in the book, of course, because Rowling hates Hermione. Stop it! Hermione said shrilly.
Always so shrill.
Why?
But that does help me when I'm reading chapters aloud to Sean, because then I'm like, okay, I need like a 17th voice in this chapter. Okay, Hermione's is going to be shrill. Crush it. Nailed it.
That's true. Helpful notes for reading aloud.
Yeah, if you have to do Dumbledore or Moody, commit less than you think you should, because it gets really, like, it gets really old really fast. It hurts.
Yeah.
Some of you may die. It hurts. So Hermione offers us the last curse, which is
Hermione.
Danny, you do yours now.
I don't know. I just kind of I wasn't prepared.
Shrilly.
Well, actually, Hermione whispered this.
She does whisper it. The killing curse, the one and only Avada Kedavra. Is it weird that there's only one killing curse?
I think it is a little weird that there's only one killing curse. Also, something that really jumped out at me was Moody smiled when this was brought up. It was like, yeah, the killing curse, that's my shit, you know, like.
I think he just is feeling satisfied about the whole Harry Potter thing. He's like, this is the most dramatic shit
he's excited
of my life. It's like a performance.
This is his finale. Yeah.
Yeah, he has all three examples of the three, curses. I mean, that's pretty rare. Big moment.
I honestly think that him and Dumbledore talked about this lesson ahead of time. I'm taking back my previous theory that Dumbledore doesn't know anything about it. I think Dumbledore was like, yo, Ron Weasley's in that class and he hates spiders. I think you should take these spiders. Here, I caught you some spiders. You don't even have to thank me.
I 100% would agree with that. I mean, especially earlier in this chapter, it applies that Moody and Dumbledore, they're in cahoots to a bit. They're in communication with each other. So I wouldn't be surprised if Dumbledore and Moody were like, yeah, so I'm going to talk about the curses. And I have a couple of students who lives have been directly affected and traumatized by these curses. So let's get at it, bro,
Let's get at it. And isn't he probably doing this lesson for the entire school? Or do you think he's doing it for younger kids?
Do they have different classes? Because there was no Slytherin shenanigans in this chapter. So
they do
there's
different
shifts.
Classes.
So he's doing this shit.
Shifts.
He's murdering dozens of spiders.
You're right about that. Wait, you're right about that.
It's fucked up, man.
Because in the last chapter, Fred and George are like, oh yeah, Moody's so cool. He's really done it, dude. He's really been out there and seen shit. So surely that was them coming away from this exact lesson, right?
Yeah, you're right. So yes, he does this performance so many times, but this was his most dramatic performance because of the peers and, in his honors.
Yeah.
There are some classes where 0 of the students have been traumatized personally by these spells, and it's not as good for him.
Yeah, he's everyone was impressed, but no one looked traumatized.
I think.
And Dumbledore, they're back in Dumbledore's office, and Dumbledore's like, well, we need to work on that.
Take a longer pause.
I think Moody went into this with the intention to, very much rattle Longbottom and, Harry. I mean, I would. Shit.
Well, and also he is a Death Eater, so he's probably remember a bit.
Yeah, and he's also a dick, so there's that.
Yeah. So probably while the reason he's smiling is because he's like, yeah, Harry Potter survived Avada Kedavra, but is he gonna survive my Avada Kedavra in his ass later this year? So that's probably why he's giggling. I shouldn't have said giggle. I don't like that.
I just thought about it.
So here's what I think. Here's my theory. I think that Avada Kedavra is the only curse that kills swiftly and painlessly and neatly. It's been honed throughout the ages as the perfect killing spell. But here's what I think. I think that much like murder in the Muggle world, there's a dozen good different ways to murder someone. There's that Sectum Sempra spell. Draco Malfoy would have bled out, right? So I think there's probably a lot more violent and like scary ways to kill people in the magical world. But what's bonkers to me is that 0 people use that for killing purposes. Like I would think that if you're really fighting like a true enemy, you would be using shit like Sectum Sempra because you're like, die, bitch. I want to see your ass bleed out. At least the bad guys, you know?
I think that's a very good point. And I think I kind of, earlier just kind of like dismissed that a bit early, getting to the whole smiling bit that was, frontmost on my mind. That's a very solid point, and I've never really explored that until now. I mean, there even with the oh my God, I'm stoned. The curse that we discussed earlier that talked that
Imperious.
Yes, that Neville's parents were affected by. I mean, I would imagine that doing that for an extended
That one was Crucio.
Oh, yes, Crucio. Thank you. I would imagine doing Crucio for an extended period of time on a human being would eventually kill them as well. I mean, you can only withstand so much pain, so much torment on the body. So it's a very good point.
Finally, Moody murders the final spider in cold blood. And he's like, only one person has ever survived this, and he's sitting right in front of me. And then the camera focus changes from the spider to Harry, like really dramatically. And then Harry zones out for a full page thinking about parent death. Andrew keeps bringing up these like tiny nuggets in these chapters of like, this is where Harry's angst grows out of, And like, this is one of those moments, I think. He spends like paragraphs and paragraphs being like, fuck, that's how my parents died.
Yeah.
And like, he's like, I'm going to hold on to this later for when I need some true rage.
Exactly like that spider is what he said. Yeah. I mean, I think this is a very powerful moment. That nugget about, Harry's trauma is a very good point. I mean, it reads here, Harry felt his face redden as Moody's eyes, parentheses, both of them looked into his own. I think that's really important because as we've been reading throughout this chapter, Moody's, magical crazy eye there has been going nuts this entire time. So this is the first moment that his eye is still and fixed on something. And of course, it's on Harry. I mean, he really wanted to shake Harry here, I think.
It's kind of wild. It's like non-consensual exposure therapy.
Yeah.
Of minors.
Oh, babies.
I know. So then he literally is like, all right, take some notes. Which I don't agree with that. Like that you got them all lit now.
I think they're a bit too wound up to sit there and, take some notes. That's for sure.
Yeah. So how do we feel about Class Gang?
I think the correct way to teach the lesson would have been so much less dramatic and fun, but I'm not fun.
It can be fun. I like that you said that. You could make it fun.
You could, but he should have just done notes first. Like do the slide, whatever wizard equivalent of slideshow is, like do a lecture with actual notes and then be like, okay, here's how they're applied. That's how you teach a class. And then they're like, wow, I wrote this stuff down and now I saw it in real life. You a cool teach.
That's true. That's true. And like probably that lecture would have explained what the curses do and like this is what you can expect. Like when I hit this spider with the Cruciatus curse, it's gonna look like it's in pain because it is. But like don't worry about it because spiders actually don't even feel that much pain or like whatever. Something scientific that's probably not true. I just feel bad for that spider.
Yeah, poor Spidey.
Oh.
I know. And like what if, okay, this is dark. If you're having a bad day, skip ahead 30 seconds. What if it's the same spider for every lesson that like keeps getting the one Cruciatus?
That's rough. Oh, babies. I never felt so much sympathy for spiders.
I know.
I like the other.
And he makes them bigger.
See their pain live and in action.
Yeah, I mean, I can't feel good to just be suddenly engorged.
Oh my.
Don't say engorged. Why? This happened last episode too, I'm sure. Oh no, it's our guest last episode. Ethan said he was engaged to be wed.
Oh my.
Totally different.
Well, so my interpretation of this chapter was a little different. I mean,
Wait, we're not at the end of the chapter, just the class.
My bad. My interpretation of this class was a little bit different still. I mean, like I said earlier, joked, Moody walked in with big dick energy, and I think that he really was just kind of wanting to show off to a degree how big and bad he was, and also kind of give them a bit of a reality shock, like, hey, you know, shit's going down in the wizarding world, so like might as well see what's going on now, you know. I mean, even later on in the chapter here, Moody is basically saying Avada Kedavra is a curse that needs a powerful bit of magic behind it. Mm-hmm. I dare you, you know, all of you take your wands out, point them at me, and say the words. I doubt I'd get as much as a nosebleed. And then he says, but that doesn't matter. I'm not here to teach you how to do it. I think that to a degree, he was definitely trying to, in a way, teach them these curses, as well as, like I said, show off a bit.
This is a great example. When we say that Harry Potter uses a soft magic system versus a hard magic system, I know we throw those words around a lot. It's kind of comparable with maybe hard science fiction versus soft science fiction. So like a hard magic system means that there's now that I'm saying it, I'm like, hard can't be the word for that, but it's definitely soft on the flip side. But let's call it a hard magic system, is when the rules of magic are like very rigid, almost scientific. I genuinely don't know a good example of this because I think that hard magical systems are very tedious. There's probably some really good examples. Maybe I'll insert some. Here's some examples from r/fantasy. Did I say that right? I don't use Reddit. I don't know why. I think you just read it like r/fantasy. But that makes it sound like I'm talking about like our fantasy, like your and my fantasy. Anyway, Brandon Sanderson, The Magicians, Kingkiller Chronicles, Powder Mage Trilogy. Scrolling. This is just more Brandon Sanderson, honestly. I guess that's the guy. Is it obvious I've never read any of these? Oh, someone mentioned bending from Avatar: The Last Airbender. I kind of like that. Some people do mention Harry Potter actually in this thread as like a pseudo hard magic system, and I just don't agree. When you get into the nitty-gritty of what spells do what kind of things, and particularly, I know this isn't fair, but look, especially if you're including movies as part of the Harry Potter canon. I mean, the movies that magic system is so soft. You could sleep in it for days. But this is an example of how Harry Potter is a soft magic system when Moody says, you could say the spell, but you have to mean it. Mm-hmm. Really, for it to work. It's what does that mean? Well, what it means is whatever is convenient to the narrative. Mm.
Yeah.
So that magic is soft as hell.
What a crazy thing to say to your students. All of you could all say Avada Kedavra and put the killing curse right now at the same time at me. Do it. Hit me. Hit me. Hit me with your best shot. Yeah.
Anyway.
Then he's like,
I apologize.
Thought so.
Shrill. Just kidding. It was beautiful. Here's my question. Why is Mad-Eye Moody going this hard if he is actually Barty Crouch Jr. trying not to really draw attention to himself?
Yeah, he's doing a bad job.
Maybe the answer is that he is trying to draw attention to himself because that's what Moody would do. But I stand by something I said in a previous episode. How does he know anything about Mad-Eye Moody? He's been in prison and in hiding for a lot of time. How does he know the first thing about how Mad-Eye Moody would even kind of act?
Did he, stake out and spy on him for a while? Maybe.
No, that's a really excellent point, because we know that obviously the Polyjuice potion handled the physical form, but that doesn't do anything for his demeanors, his his personality. So
it did not help Ron and Harry in book 2.
Yeah, still awkward AF, just in different bodies. So yeah. See, this is so great, exploring Harry Potter as an adult like we do throughout this podcast series. It's why I'm always so appreciative to be here, because I really do, find myself thinking in Harry Potter about Harry Potter in a whole different way. I didn't have these complex thoughts when I was first reading through the series.
Absolutely. I totally agree that I read these for the first time when I was a little kid, and I've kind of always retained sort of the same experience every time I've read them, and this has been just like a totally different experience.
Oh, yeah.
And I love breaking down every little fucking thing with you guys.
Yeah, it's the best. Okay, so I did have one thing. Just like the constant vigilance thing he keeps saying, like,
yeah, I love it.
Yeah, it's like funny and like definitely he's trying to just like, he's roaring, literally. He roars, but then he's like constant, never ceasing vigilance. So that to me is the same thing as anxiety, but
whoa. Yeah, that reminds me of, I read this thing online one time and it has stuck with me ever since because I think it's so good. Anxiety is like hearing the bad guy music from a video game, but not being able to see the bad guy. And I think that is really appropriate for Mad Eye Moody, honestly. Hey, bud, can you get completely the fuck off of me? Get just so... Go anywhere else. He won't. He's going to stay right here.
Love it.
Yes, so that comes up on the internet once every couple years, and I keep forgetting to save it, but that's what that reminds me of.
That's interesting. I've never heard that before. Yeah, from my perspective, that sounds a lot like anxiety for sure. So
yeah. Speaking of anxiety, after class, everyone is like really excited about the lesson, but Harry did not love his class, and definitely weird. Neither did Neville. He did not have a good time. He's like visibly fucked up, and then they try to talk to him, and then he's like verbally fucked up.
Yeah,
it's extremely sad.
Pobrecito.
Oh, hello. His voice much higher than usual.
Yeah.
The instant pivot here. Interesting lesson, wasn't it? I wonder what's for dinner. I'm starving, aren't you? Watching things get tortured makes me hungry too. So, it's
truly.
Whatever.
Yeah, well, I mean, you were saying it sarcastically. I'm saying truly to the sarcastic. So it says his voice is like higher pitched than normal. Do we think that's because he's like holding back tears or something? Is that what do we think that's about?
I feel like sometimes when my voice, when I'm straining or when I'm stressed and like trying to hold it together very unsuccessfully, my voice, the tension, you start to hear it in my voice. Like I'll go from here where I am to like a okay, all right, yeah, and we're all ready, and and here we go, like
You sound like you're like not happy to be on this roller coaster.
Oh, I'm definitely not crying. It's
fine.
Oh, see, we managed to laugh about the saddest shit in this book series. Yeah, so Moody comes along and is like, hey, Neville, I see that this was hard for you, so let's talk.
I see you shook, bro.
Also, I have to plant this book on you. Because that's what happens right now, right? He gives Neville the book that has the information about the gillyweed in it.
Yeah, I mean, this chapter is like a roller coaster of emotions for Neville. We see him go from chill, like he was at the start of class, to, traumatized in the middle of class. And now, we'll get to the rest later on, but right now he's not doing so great. That's for sure. It's all right, he said. It's all right, Sonny, he said to Neville. Sonny, don't you call him my baby Sonny. God.
I was like, are you still reading?
I know, I was like, wait, I think I lost my place.
All right, so the boys go back to the common room. Hermione goes off to the library for reasons. Neville's like in the dormitory. He looks like he's been crying. He has these books. Harry says that it was, or the narrative / Harry says that it was like a very tactful for Moody to cheer up Neville by like telling him that Sprout said he was good at herbology. And Harry thinks to himself that it was the sort of thing that Professor Lupin would have done. And I feel like that's like a symbol of his like stamp of approval of Moody, you know?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
WWLD.
Love it. Yeah, I mean, that compliment was sort of what I was alluding to with the roller coaster of emotions we get from Neville.
Yeah.
You know, now he's, you know, living his high life because Neville's he's just a little baby in the background a lot of this series, you know, till the end, as we know. He doesn't get much attention, and he's obviously getting quite a bit of attention today, both negatively and now positively. And, you know, he's had a day, that's for sure.
It's true. He has had a day, and he has like no one to confide in.
Yeah.
Like he's just a sad, lonely boy.
Yeah.
I know. So Harry and Ron start doing their divination homework. I love like little scenes like this in the book. It's like really hard and stupid. Like it's a stupid thing. It's like math plus horoscopes, which like if you don't vibe with math or horoscopes, that's gonna suck, dude.
Oh yeah.
So Ron finally suggests that they just start making stuff up, and it's like a very funny montage.
I felt a bit of nostalgia reading this for sure. Like, I feel like at some point in my life, although I can't like recall the exact details, I definitely had a let's just make up ridiculous homework like this moment because I had something ridiculous and stupid that I just was hard no not into as a child. But I feel like it was probably the closest thing was having to write sentences with vocab words you're learning in class, you know? Like, I'm just going to roll this shit off, make it work. It's going to be ridiculous, but here we go, bitch. It's done.
Yeah, I feel that. It kind of reminds me of in college when I had like an essay assignment and I would be like, most people can't write essays as good as me, not to brag. So I can do like 50% effort and still pass because I'm a very good writer.
Yeah, I've banked on that a lot in my past. Yeah. I'm everyone's favorite English student, but everyone else's least favorite student.
Oh,
not true. I'm very overeager.
Okay, so in the common room, Harry notices Fred and George. They're in a corner together and they're like whispering over a single piece of parchment. So Harry's like, I saw them doing this earlier. I thought it was a Weasley's wizarding wheezes thing. But he's like, that's not really the vibe right now. Like, this isn't a joyful, like, entrepreneurship moment. And he hears George say, that sounds like we're accusing him. We have to be careful. Hermione comes back from the library. And she's like, I'm finished. And they're like, we just thought you were being at the library. You're Hermione. She shows them a box with badges that say, for sure, spew on them. I'm not like with Hermione on the like, don't look at the acronym, look at the initialism. That's the difference between spew and SPEW. But it's like, you know, when you're like naming a baby, the initials can't be like FUK. Like you gotta,
yeah.
It exists whether you want it to or not.
Yeah, I mean that's a very unfortunate name for sure. I was processing and catching up a little bit and the parchment stuff. I mean, yeah, that is a very sketchy moment. I wonder what that's all about. Anyway, yeah.
The Fred and George thing.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was like processing and I'm super slow right now.
Because we're high.
Yes. But anyway, yeah, back to Hermione. My bad. I just realized that like, oh Hermione, yeah, that's what's happening.
Hermione is very busy spewing over here. Okay.
Oh, rough.
Okay, well, here's the thing. Do I dislike the way the narrative paints Hermione in a hysterical, unhelpful, nagging light? Yes. Do I think that her club name is pronounced spew? Yes. Like, she's being silly and I feel bad for her, you know?
It can be both
I want to
things.
help her.
Yeah, it can be both things.
It's almost comical that Hermione just went with Spew. I mean, I know she talks a bit about having another name in mind, but she couldn't fit it on the button. But like Hermione's so clever, it's almost kind of like, really, girl, with your big old brain, Spew is the best you could come up with.
She probably thought she could just bully people into not saying that part.
That's true. She is good at stuff like that.
Or she'll be like, well, that's not the name. Like, it's logically just not the name. So I'm going to pronounce it correctly. She does assume that Harry... Here's the thing. She assumes that Harry and Ron will join. It's wrong of her to assume. And it's also wrong of them not to just, like, willfully, happily support her. Like, they're both... Everyone's wrong.
Yes.
I think it's worse of them not to support her.
I would agree with you until Hermione is like, Ron, you're the treasurer, Harry, you're the secretary. Bitch, I'm sorry, you need to be doing all of it until, like, they're settled, you know? I was
kind of thinking the same, like, yeah, I will, if it was me, like, yeah, I'll support you, you're my friend, like, let's go, but, like, don't just assume that I'm going to take a leadership position. Like, no.
Yeah. Well, and some people just aren't suited to leadership either. You can't just, like, foist those positions off on your friends.
Yeah, Ron is definitely not suited for a leadership position. He is a sweet little precious angel baby. No.
And he's the treasurer, and we have no reason to believe he can, I'm so sorry, count.
That is fair. Ron is precious, but this series really proves he's not a bright boy.
Yeah.
I mean, he can probably count to, like, there's probably no good reason for him to have counted money before.
Especially when the Weasleys really don't have a lot of it.
Yeah, especially they're, like, their sixth kid or whatever?
Yeah. If he could count all his siblings, he's doing all right. That's all that matters.
They can all only count to 9 because that's how many family members there
are. Oh, baby.
So yeah, I just wish everyone in this moment was supporting each other more. But that's fine. They're like, they're just like in shock. Harry and Ron do not know what to say. But luckily, Hedwig breaks the tension by tapping at the window. She has a response from Sirius Black. At last. I think she's been gone a hot minute.
Yeah, a very long time since, like, one of the first chapters, right?
Yeah, I think it was chapter 2, The Scar.
Yeah.
The boringest chapter, but I guess she flies away.
She was like, this is boring. I'll be back later, bitches.
Peace.
If only I could fly away from boring scenes in my life, everything would be different. So Sirius in his letter says he's coming north. He's very alarmed by the news of Harry's scar hurting, and he's also heard other rumors, question mark. What, do we think it's Bertha? Do we think that's the other rumor?
I mean, I think that's definitely part of it. I mean, he's definitely a bit alarmed about Mad Eye as well. He's reading signs, even if no one else is. Yeah,
that he says of Dumbledore.
Yeah. So I think he's definitely worried that shit's going down.
Okay, first of all, my notes say exactly, this is a sign that shit's going down. Word for word.
Yeah.
I'm just like a little confused. So Sirius Black is like, if Dumbledore brought Moody out of retirement, that means he knows that, quote, shit's going down, unquote. Like, what is Dumbledore seeing? Like, what the fuck is he, like, on about? Like, why would he make this choice?
Yeah, I mean, we already know that significant shit has gone down. So, yeah, what's been the real triggering point to, cause Sirius to suddenly get serious? Thank you. I'll be here all week.
Or was it because he was a little moody?
Wow, indeed.
That was beautiful. Well done.
And we're done here. Yeah, I guess, like, unless the impetus for Dumbledore wanting like the most legendary auror at Hogwarts maybe could be Wormtail escaping and like Trelawney's prophecy. And Dumbledore's like, we just need a little bit of extra protection. We're gonna hire one more bouncer.
One more weird ass wizard.
For one more job. One last time.
So basically Harry is livid with himself for making Sirius think that he has to come back to Britain and put himself in danger just because Harry's little scar-wooded.
Oh.
I feel for Harry here. He's so I understand why he's angry at himself, but I wish he would treat himself a little more kindly. Give himself a little more grace.
Yeah, it says here that Harry hit himself in the forehead, almost like, damn you, Scar, type of deal. Like, bro, relax, take a breath. It's okay.
It's gonna be okay. I get it. He's worried about the only, like, suit. I mean, he really values Sirius, like, a lot. Like, as, like my only family member. But, like, truly the Weasleys are, like, your real family.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they would do anything for him.
But I guess you're allowed to, like, care about Sirius too, whatever.
It's fine. We'll allow it, I guess. Harry's so pissy, even snaps at Hedwig. Like, come on, bro.
I hate that.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't like it either because I was going to say you always speak kindly to your pets, but then I remember that I have 4 cats, and that's definitely not strictly speaking true.
I have 2, and girl, same.
But, I mean, you do, though, because especially Hedwig just got back from, like, a months-long journey for your bitch ass, and the first words you're going to say to her are, like, rude. That's a hard no. When I come through the front door and the cats are all up in my grill, I'm like, hi, babies, and I say hi to each and every one of them separately, you know?
I do know, because also when I come home, my cats are all up in my grill, and I also say hi to both of them. So I 110% get it. Yeah.
Leela, do you have the same experience?
As a fellow cat owner, I too can concur that when I arrive home, my cats are screaming at me, and I love it.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah, and here Hedwig is, tired and hungry, just carrying this note through God knows what to get it to Harry.
God knows what. We have no idea where Sirius Black is right now.
Yeah.
He could be in straight up like Argentina, like the other side of the world.
For real. And Harry's like, Hedwig wants a snack, rightfully so. And Harry, snaps at her. You'll have to go to that oh my God, owlry if you want food. Like, are you kidding me? Hedwig definitely deserves a treat.
She deserves a treat.
Yes.
And bare minimum, she deserves your respect, Harry.
You privileged bitch, calm down. It's not always about
Or
you.
even just like a nice little pet or like some kind words.
Yeah.
I know. Anyway, whatever. Harry is a Leo sign, like a Cancer cusp, and I think that informs like a lot of his decisions. It means he's like, he lashes out with his emotions sometimes when he is feeling heated. Anyway, speaking of horoscopes, Danny, this was a pretty depressing chapter, but what was your favorite moment?
I think my favorite moment of this chapter was, I really think, especially reading it, this time now as an adult, my favorite moment was Neville walking through the door, having some pep in his step. We know that obviously Neville had a rough day and that, Moody definitely has manipulated him to some degree, obviously used him for a bit of his own personal gain there with slip in the book and all that good stuff. But we know it all works out in the end.
It's true.
But I really liked the attention that Neville got in this chapter. I definitely wish he had more in the series, but I just like seeing Neville happy. Out of everyone in this series, he's definitely one of the characters who you learn to feel for the most, I think, and he definitely deserves his moments in the sun. And I think towards the end, he does get a brief little moment in the sun, and I like that a lot.
That's beautiful.
Oh.
He's the unchosen one, but like in the end, he chooses his damn self.
Damn right. He learned to love himself. Hot girl shit.
It is hot girl shit.
Real hot girl shit.
Boss bitch energy. Leela, what was your like little bright light, your favorite part in this chapter?
Well, I don't know if I had like a favorite part, but I just in general I always really kind of like reading this chapter, not in a way that like I think it's pleasant or anything, but I just think it really starts to build the tone of the angst and kind of like where it comes from, and it just adds kind of like this layer of psyche to the series that we haven't really seen as much before. And I think it sort of like really starts to set that tone here and continue throughout the series.
Yeah, it's true. I think my favorite part of this chapter was when Harry and Ron were making up their divination homework. Like, I understand that Harry is a bad student. Like, we talked about this in the last episode. He is just straight up a bad student. He doesn't try. But I get it with divination. I think he maybe should have just picked a different elective this year, but whatever. And I think it's like very funny that they're taking it as an opportunity to do like a creative writing exercise, and they're really bonding as friends because of it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a real like kid moment. And obviously this series is about, you know, kids with magical abilities in the wizarding world, of course, but throughout the series, we don't really see a lot of moments of pure just them being kids, not necessarily being wizards.
Yeah. I cherish them all. Well, it is time to move on to some plugs. Are you guys ready?
Always.
Sure.
Danny, do you want to go first?
Sure. My name is Danny. You can find me on Instagram at DCresanti. You could also find me on Facebook, Danny DCresanti. And a book that I want to thank you guys again for having me. It's been awesome as always. And a book I want to mention, I actually just finished reading it. I want to say Monday night. So then I dove into HP here, and I need to pick out a new book tonight. So that's exciting.
I'm starting a new book tonight too.
Yes.
It's the best feeling.
Yes. I just finished Tomcat in Love by Tim O'Brien. Tim O'Brien is one of my favorite writers. He wrote Northern Lights, The Things They Carried, If I Die in the Combat Zone. I love him. I've read several of his books so far. Tomcat in Love was different for me. I really didn't like it when I started reading it, and I really didn't want to continue it. And I'm glad I did, because it ended up being a good book. Look at that.
Aw, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. I love getting book recs.
Yeah.
Leela, where can people find you on the internet?
Hello, listeners. You can find me on Instagram at Leels for Reels, also at Leels for Reels on the Twitters. You can listen to my confused tones most Sunday nights with the Movie Night Crew. I did it right this time. And with my friends, with you guys. With Christina's there too.
She speaks the truth.
And tonight I will be plugging my husband's Instagram channel.
Aww.
I think he's worked really hard on it, and he is really into film photography. His grandfather gave him a really cool old camera, and ever since then he's really like learned how to kind of like repair them, and then how film works, and he even develops the film here. And yeah, I'm in a lot of the pictures because, you know, I like to be in pictures, so
she's an enthusiastic and beautiful model.
Thank you. I am always enthusiastic. And a lot of the pictures are just really neat shots of Richmond. Love to see pics of my city, so check them out.
Oh, I love that so much.
You can find him at
Oh yeah, great.
Yeah, you should say the
name. You can find him at Pictures of Jay. That's Jay spelled out. Check the show notes for more details.
AKA the link.
Yes.
So, as you know, not to brag, but I have been your host, Christina. You can follow me on Instagram at Christina the Con. You can follow me on Twitter at Christina Con. You can follow me on TikTok at Sprouts Private Stash. And please check out my new small business. I now run an independent publisher called Wildling Press. It's at Wildling Press everywhere. We do a bunch of cool stuff with books, so check that out. This week, I'm going to plug The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin, which is
yes, Queen. Sorry.
Yeah, it's like revered as like a pivotal work of science fiction, second only to Dune, is what I was reading today, because it was one of those books where it was smarter than me, and when I got to the end of it, I was like, wow, I need to read what other people have said about this book to understand it better. Basically, it's like a science fiction about a man who, from like Earth ostensibly, who is serving as an envoy in like an alien planet, like a foreign planet, where every person on this planet is, they call them, the author refers to them as bisexual, which is very funny to me. They're like gender fluid because they spend most of their time in like a gender neutral situation, but they, like, for sex reasons, they become like more feminine or more masculine. Ooh. And I think it was just like super interesting. It's written like a classic science fiction novel, like science fiction novels from a certain time period, like the 60s, 70s, and 80s, I think have like a very specific tone. And this book definitely has that tone, but the subject matter is just so much better than any other science fiction I've read from that era by far, which are pretty much exclusively about cis white dudes just fucking shit up.
I need to quickly just back up your plug of The Left Hand of Darkness. I read it in college along with our other lovely member of the Restricted Section podcast family, Haley.
Haley's one who got me to read it.
Yes, it was a book that we both enjoyed. And I find it such an interesting and pleasant coincidence that you're plugging it the same week that, you know, I'm mentioning Trans Awareness Week.
Yeah.
So look at that.
Yeah, it was definitely like it's been a while since I've read a science fiction novel that like really, well, I guess I read Project Hail Mary like 1 week ago.
I was like, what are you talking
about? Anyway, I love science fiction. Here's what I'm trying to say. I love science fiction, and when it's really formulaic, so when it surprises me, I'm always delighted, right? That's what I'm trying to say. Project Hail Mary does the same thing. Read Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir.
Yes, Left Hand of Darkness is certainly unique, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the end of our show. Leela, thank you so much for being my co-captain, as always.
Anytime, baby.
And Danny, thank you so much for joining us. I love having you on the show.
Anytime, my friends. I love being a part of the show. Thank you, as always.
Yeah, I hope we'll see you back for Order of the Phoenix.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, gang, I gotta go finish reading Unforgiven, a memoir of 3 terrible curses before this book just like straight up murders me. Bye.
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 Beautiful harmony, gang. The Restricted Section is a member of the Movie Night Crew Network, which features other amazing podcasts such as its namesake, The Movie Night Crew, which is an extra chaotic podcast featuring the gang just shooting the shit about whatever movie they just watched.
Alrighty.
It's movie night.
Grab your popcorn,
Grab your coffee.
Grab your friend.
Grab a cat.
Let's go.
Who directed this?
What year did it come out?
Is that girl from that show?
Who wrote this?
Where's the cat?
Who would you rather bang?
Pass the popcorn.
Does this pass the Bechdel test?
What about the Steve Buscemi test?
Does a woman literally speak in this movie?
Oh my god, a dog.
This reminds me of in Harry Potter when...
Are we recording?
What did the critics say?
It's a guilty pleasure.
What's your rating?
Can you be quiet?
Oh my god.
Movie Night Crew.
It's just like watching movies with your friends.
And then arguing about it after.
Every Sunday, wherever you get podcasts.
The Restricted Section was created by me, Christina Kahn, based on the book series by J.K. Rowling. All music by Ryan Kahn. Logo by Michael Hardison. Support us on patreon.com/restricted section. For as little as $1 a month, you can gain access to our Discord community server, which is a really happy place to be. And there are other rewards as well, such as bonus episodes and Zoom happy hour hangouts. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Restricted Section Pod, on Twitter at Restricted Pod, and on Facebook at Restricted Section Pod. Also, feel free to shoot us an email at restrictedsectionpod@gmail.com to share your thoughts, feelings, complaints, conspiracy theories, or even lavish praise.
Now I just keep kind of talking because I want to see the blue lines to confirm that it's going because I'm paranoid and stoned. All right, it's going. I'm fine. I'm just paranoid. Let's fucking do it.
Paranoid and stoned is how I came into this life. It's how I'm gonna live my life, and it's how I'm gonna leave this life. Okay.
Same.
That movie sucked.
I kind of liked it.
Movie Night Crew Network.